All right, no boom, no check. I mean, it was fun yesterday. We had a boom and a check, but tonight, no boom, no check. Jim tweeted out, in fact, it was sloppy, and it was. I mean, very, very sloppy. And an 0-2 grand slam is not exactly ideal. That is Coors Field, and things get weird, and they had a lead. It's not the first lead that's ever been blown in the history of Coors Field, and it's not like Michael King pitched terribly. A Jake Cronenworth error was a big part of that 5-run inning, but the Padres did not play well tonight. It looked good early. They led 4-1 for Michael King, and then offense was very quiet late. They lose 7-4. So we'll react to it. The season isn't over, nor is the series, and we'll see if they can rebound with Matt Waldron, a knuckleball pitcher where knuckleballs don't knuckle, tomorrow in Denver. So subscribe, okay? We're going to be with you all year, in season, out of season. So even though they lost to the Rockies, the Rockies are awful. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 6,100 subscribers this series. We need you. Smash the like button for us. How many likes tonight, Jim? I mean, they lost. Would you take 175?
I would take 150.
Look at you settling. I love it.
With this, yeah. By the way, Can everybody just calm the F down?
Oh, no.
Okay. If we're a couple minutes late, we're a couple minutes late. Sorry about it. I was on the phone with my dad. You can live for
your father. You're putting family above the wrap-up show on a Tuesday night.
Look, I was also talking to my fiance about things. So here's the deal. If we're like 90 seconds late, sorry, I apologize. Okay.
What's next? What are you going to tell us next?
I mean, look, if you can't handle 90 seconds being late, I don't know. Anyway, I get it off.
You know what? Before we go anywhere, I'm glad, since we're on a tangent, and I want to say Mike Miller is here. Mike, I said this on radio. I want to say yesterday. I was late to this. Happy belated birthday. I know we're like a week late. Mike is a diehard supporter, and we really do appreciate you, Mike. And I saw you picked up a wrap-up show shirt, I think from your son, for your birthday. So thank you for support of the channel. Thank you for watching and listening to John and Jim. Thank you for being with us night in and night out. Happy birthday from me and Jim. And we appreciate you, is what I wanted to say. So thank you, Mike. Okay, back to this. We're going to get to every single super chat tonight. Click the $ below the chat box. If you want to become a member, click join. You get custom emojis and badges like the badge, the Schulte badge, and the bogey badge. Here's where I want to start with this game. We'll talk about King. Offensively, they had 12 hits, and I did nothing against the Rockies bullpen, but they did have 12 hits. I think it comes down to one play. And who disagrees with this? I think if Jake Cronenworth fields the ball in the 5-run inning, I think he's got a very good chance of turning 2. This kind of is like deja vu all over again in Korea, if you recall. Like, if he fields the ball, maybe he turns 2. And I don't think the Rockies even score in the inning. I think if he turns a double play, there's 2 outs, nobody on. And I doubt the inning transpires the way it transpired. Now, errors are part of baseball. Padres defense has been awful. This speaks to the importance of Machado. I'm just telling, not because Machado's playing first. I'm just telling you, it speaks to the importance of Machado. They need to clean up their infield defense. It's been awful. Bottom 10 in baseball in errors, and I just think it starts there. Cronenworth has had a fine start to the year, but defensively, this infield in general has been lacking defensively.
It wasn't like the very next batter, and it wasn't like there was 2 outs when Cronzone made the error there. And it wasn't like the next pitch was a grand slam. You know, it eventually got to the grand slam, and those runs, 2 of them were unearned to Michael King. But you're right. When you have such small margins for error, you got to do all the little things right. And one of the little things is just fielding the baseball. And to Jake's credit, he's been very solid at first base this season. Take away tonight, and where the ball like goes through his glove in South Korea.
Just those two
plays, just those 2 massive moments that you could maybe say cost him the game. But also too, Michael King's got to be better. It's a Coors Field game, so I get it.
That's the thing.
It's hard to really truly evaluate a pitcher when they pitch at Coors Field, just because it's Coors Field and a lot of crazy shit can happen. But that was a sloppy mistake. And if you're at Coors Field, you got to score more than 4 runs to win a game more often than not. I know you won last night with only 3 runs, but that's a rarity. I feel like at Coors Field, it just is. You got to put runs
100%.
forward. And I think tonight, John, they 12 hits, that's a good amount, but only 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So they didn't really, have a crazy like 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position kind of night.
10 hits in the first 4 innings, 2 in the last 5.
Yeah, they just got to put
So,
more
like,
runs. They were missed. There were a lot of warning track flyouts tonight.
there was. But, like,
And
this
yeah,
and the Rockies bullpen, you don't really see the 18 bullpen from the Rockies. They were rested because they
yeah,
haven't been leading a ton, but, like, Beeks, Bird, Lawrence, that iconic, final 5 innings from those 3 relievers, they were effective, very good. So, I mean, I think you probably credit. I don't know. I mean, it's one instance where the Padres they were pretty quiet for 4 or 5 innings, which is a little weird to be that way in Denver. I mean, to your point, yesterday's 3 runs, today 4. Like, let's take this thing back now through the Blue Jays series. So 4 runs today in Denver, 3 runs yesterday in Denver, 6 runs Sunday. That was good. But the prior 3 games they had lost and hadn't scored. Like, you look at the last 7 games, it's been at best a tick below average on offense at best. Like, they had a nice 7-game stretch. Even beyond that, maybe they had some 9, 10, 11 run scoring outputs. But look at the last 6, 7 games. Again, not pathetic. They're not scoring 1 or 2 runs. But in Denver, 7 runs in 2 games isn't anything to really write home about. Not against this Rockies team.
well, you have to look at the lineup, John. It's not the greatest lineup on the planet
Well, yeah,
either.
Manny's not in there. Yeah.
Jerks and Profar is your cleanup hitter. All right.
Mhm.
The depth on this
It's true.
team isn't the greatest. Graham Pauley is, I mean, it's
Overmatched?
tough to watch him at the plate right now. He is Mr. Strikeout. He had 3 strikeouts again tonight. He's hitting 0.95 on the season.
Yeah.
He hasn't gotten much consistent playing time, which is tough for a young guy. It's just never going to work out if you're never going to get consistent playing time at the big league level. But when you have 11 strikeouts and 21 at bats, that's a problem. And you have
Mhm.
nobody else on the bench. Nobody. Like, so it's tough. And if the top of your lineup isn't producing in a big way, and they did well tonight. Jake had 3 hits. Toddy, I think he had a couple hits, and Bogey
He
had
did.
a
He
hit.
had 2 hits. Yep.
But you're going to need to see like those guys along with the hits, rack up like 3, 4, 5 RBIs total there, and they didn't. So it's a
What am I
problem.
hearing? I'm hearing
Is there a
something
cricket?
weird.
Is there a cricket?
I don't know. But I will say this. I mean, again, Bogey had the nice Sunday. He might have had a hit or 2 on Saturday. He had a hit, and he had a hit today. He's hitting a $198, and we're getting to the point where the plate appearances are like real. He hasn't had 30. He's had a good amount of plate appearances. I know it's not a full season. I mean, we're at the point. This is 1/6 of the season, Jim. 26 games is 1/6. 26 times 6. What is that, folks? 156. So
Yeah.
you're at 1/6 of the season, and he's hitting a $198 with 550 OPS. Nowhere near good enough. I mean, I could be way more critical, and at some point we're going to have to be. Now, I don't think it's yet at that point. It's 26 games, it's not 55. But Lord, this is, again, you don't have Manny Machado, and you're asking players to step up, and you're trying to take advantage of a series and win one, and they still could. I'll give them credit if they take 3 out of 4 in this series now. After losing tonight, now you got Waldron tomorrow, and you got Vasquez on Thursday. I'll give them credit if they can win the next 2 days. But when Manny's out, we're going to need to see some players step up, and I mean, Bogaerts is sitting at $198, and I don't know when that's going to change.
He's not the only player that's struggling right now. I think Aaron Judge is hitting 177 in New York. Julio Rodriguez just hit his first home run for the Mariners
I mean,
tonight.
you're saying around baseball, of course he's not the only player struggling.
Yeah, and we are. It's an isolated type of conversation because we just cover the Padres here. We talk just Padres baseball, and right now, while watching Padres baseball, Xander has been their worst everyday player at the plate. No questions asked.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, it's hard. It's easy to say, and we've talked about it ad nauseum. I feel like for the last week or so, to move Xander out of the leadoff spot, but then it's like, where does he go, and who moves to the leadoff spot, and does it make your lineup
True.
better, or does it just like rearrange chairs on the Titanic type of thing?
It's a great point.
It's as simple as the point we had at the beginning of the season. If your superstars are not going to perform like superstars this season, they are not going to make the postseason. Plain and simple. That's just how it's going to work.
But what about the simple switch of just do a Bogaerts? Like, here's where I'm at with it. Do a Bogaerts Kim flop for me. At least when you get back home and you got Manny in the lineup. Do a 1-6 flop. If Kim's been batting 6, put him in the leadoff spot. We've seen it work previously. Why not try it? He's not going to hit worse than this. I know he hasn't gotten off to a good start, but maybe put him somewhere where he's been successful. And then move Bogaerts down. Put less responsibility on him. Don't bat him 9th. 6th is temporary. If he hits there, he becomes a 5-hole hitter or whatever. But just give me that flip, I think, because 26 games is enough here. Again, like I said, it's 1/6 of the season. They probably won't do it until they get back home anyway. You're going to be 28, 29 games into your year. At some point, you're going to have to do it. At some point, you got to rip a Band-Aid. I mean, barring consecutive 3-hit games or a week where he hits 505, which, again, is possible and likely coming. There's tons of weeks in a Major League Baseball season. Barring that, at some point, someone's going to have to rip the Band-Aid off if he doesn't hit. And I don't know if that comes from the front office or if it comes from Mike Schilder. I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, you were on this before I was on this, but it's getting to the point where if you don't have Manny Machado, you're going to need Xander Bogaerts to perform better than he's performing.
It will come, John. It will come.
Of course, over 162.
If he doesn't turn this thing around and we look up at the end of this month and he's still hitting where he's at right now and giving you really nothing offensively, and his on-base percentage isn't high, and it will happen. But here's what also has to happen is the person that they're going to put in the leadoff spot needs to be hot before they move the leadoff spot. You could say, hey, what about Jackson Merrill? I am firmly in the camp of you keep Jackson where he's at. That's
for how long though? Would you? I mean,
150 at bats.
The All-Star break and he was hitting 329.
I say 150 at bats, which is not too long from now.
That's what I was going to say. It's not that far off.
So I mean, that could be what, in another a month, 3 weeks.
May. I mean, he's had 85. 150. He's more than halfway there, so he'd be there by 50 games, 45, 50 games.
Okay, so yeah, that's not far off. I said at least 150 at bats. See where he's at then, and then you go from there. And if they deem that Jackson Merrill is better in the leadoff spot, then Jackson Merrill will be the leadoff hitter. But his home and road splits are crazy. I mean, he's hitting almost 500 on the road, and he can't hit the ball anywhere at home.
I'm not, but I wouldn't get overly concerned with that because now we're taking the sample size. No, we're having it. I'm just saying, I'm just pointing out his road home splits.
Well,
great. Then lead him off on the road.
Perfect. Do that.
Because if he can hit 500 on the road leading off, that'll be a positive.
Big positive. So
it'll be nice.
Eventually, it will change if Xander does not start performing. Whoever they put in the leadoff spot, I feel like needs to have some good momentum before they get put in the leadoff spot.
Perfect.
Leadoff spot.
Fernando.
Okay, great, Fernando. Then who's your two hitter? Bogaerts.
I mean, I could consider putting Kim there still and putting Bogaerts or Kim as batting.
Yeah, because I feel like putting Bogaerts second is just an automatic double play waiting to happen all the time.
True, and I don't love putting him 5th or 6th either because there's typically traffic somewhere along the way, obviously, and there's less traffic leading off than there is batting 5th or 6th because at least one of your at-bats, there's nobody on base.
Again,
so it's I'm telling you though, Jim, it's not I'm not putting this on Bogaerts. I'm not.
No.
I mean, I'd be more willing to put tonight on Cronenworth, even though he had 3 hits offensively. But that's a big miscue. I'm just that's a really big play. I mean, it was a massive play. Especially here's this is just true. At Coors, you can't do it. The additional out, even against bad Colorado teams, is costly. It always is. And this was an additional 2 outs. It's a hard hit ball to first. It's tailor-made 3-6-3 or 3-6-1. And he boots it or goes under his glove, whatever you want. So, I mean, it maybe is surmised in that. And again, King wasn't perfect. And this isn't about Bogaerts specifically today, but it also kind of is. I mean, if you're going to hit 198, I mean, you're going to have to figure something out. I don't think you just allow someone to hit 198 on it. You know what I mean? I mean, at some point, they're going to have to make a determination. He's not Aaron Judge, Jim.
No, they will. They will.
He's not Aaron Judge. So I'm way more willing to give leash to Aaron Judge than I am to Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, I mean, that fourth inning, just, single, error, 2 men on, single, bases
hard hit
loaded.
single. 0-2 fastball, kind of, I don't know, belt high over the left field wall.
And then you get a ground out.
They walked in a run.
Charlie Blackmon single, a double, and then an intentional walk there.
And then a walk.
A strikeout, and then a walk with the bases loaded.
On a 3-2 pitch.
So was King good tonight? No, he was not.
But he wasn't helped.
He wasn't helped, but the good pitchers overcome those things.
But Denver,
and King's expected to be like, this guy that he claims that he wants to be 180 plus innings. I'm better than a 4-starter. He didn't say that, but that's the kind of mentality that he has. And that's, I think, what a lot of people were hoping they were going to get when they traded Juan Soto for this guy. Besides really one, he's not been great. He's not been great.
I agree with you, but I feel as if, because he's not Dylan Cease and he's not Joe Musgrove, he's not Yu Darvish, at least at this point in his career, that I believe in an alternate universe tonight, he goes like 5 innings, 1 run. Now, again, some of that's on him. Fair.
But he didn't.
But that's because of Jake.
Okay, so basically it all comes back to
it does.
Jake's. Yeah,
it does. I mean,
no, I know, and I agree with that. It probably does.
I mean, I hate to say it again. King's not going to say that, and King is responsible for what happens after an error. I'm all for that, but I just feel like you're really asking for trouble off an error in Colorado. I know this team's crap. I'm talking about the Rockies. They are, but I mean, they're so overly due to score 6-7 runs in a game like they did here today. They're just so overly due to get their bats going. I mean, they might be terrible. They might lose 100 games. They will hit at home. Presumably, that's what they do. So, again, I'm not, I don't know. It's professional sports. And like, if we're going to talk about every single night, and if I'm going to cast blame, here's my order of blame tonight. Cronenworth, then King, not King, then Cronenworth, is what I would say.
I'd probably, I just look at Michael King, and when you walk guys in with the bases loaded, and, he gave up the grand slam, to a team that hasn't hit a home run in forever. Not great. By the way, good jinx by me. I said they haven't hit a home run in forever, and they hit a home run tonight. Good job.
Well, but that you said it yesterday. If they would have hit like 3 yesterday, that's not a jinx the next day. Padres haven't hit a home run in this series.
I know. I would go King Cronenworth for tonight. Because, hey,
I'm
buddy,
put that actually as a poll.
You gotta I mean, you got to be better. And if you're expected to be what you are saying you want to be, you can't be walking guys with the bases loaded and giving up 0-2 grand slams and completely crumbling after an error in the field. Like, those things can happen. If you want to be a frontline guy and you want to be a guy that's relied on for 180 innings plus, making 30 plus starts a year, right? You want to be this guy that's close to the front of the rotation. All right. You're going to deal with shit that happens in the field behind you, and you got to overcome it. And he didn't, and he crumbled. And that 4th inning was the game.
Career high 10 batters in an inning. It was. I mean, there's no question that he did fail to. Again, I'm not saying that if Dylan Cease was put in that same spot, it would have been an identical result. It probably wouldn't, because Dylan Cease has been elite to start the year, and King hasn't. So, yeah, I mean, exactly. He's walked a lot of batters. He absolutely has. That's been a problem. He's also had a brilliant start, but his other 3 or 4 have been very pedestrian. So I just put it in the top of the chat. I'm curious what people are going to say. You're going to say King or Cronenworth? Put it in the poll. It's pinned in the top of the chat. All right, let's get to a super here, guys. Thank you. Please subscribe if you're here. Year-round content for Padres fans. Trying to get to 6,100 subscribers with your help. So please subscribe. Smash the like button for us. Trying to hit 150 likes here tonight, so hit that like button for us. We have over 150 people with us here live right now. Thank you for the supers. Click the $ below the chat box, and thank you, James, for hanging out and your membership and your support. He says, I feel like today was King's way of saying thank you for no run support last time when he had a great game. I mean, he was unbelievable whenever that was 5 or 6 days ago, and they lost that game. And he was actually tagged with the loss, wasn't he? Despite taking a no-hitter into the 7th inning.
He left with a runner on second. Peralta gave up a
scored.
Hit. Guy immediately scored. They lost. It was the game 1-0.
Yeah, and he took the loss. So, I mean, I don't know. It's tough. Obviously, King was good his last time out. He wasn't good this time out. That's baseball, to quote Manny. Is it not?
He's had 2 good outings this year so far. 2. That's it. Versus the Giants at home, he pitched 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. And then his last outing, 7 2/3. The earned run is, I mean, to go on his record is bullshit, but whatever. 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. But his other starts have been really just suspect. 3 1/3. It wasn't even a start. It was he came in in Korea because Musgrove couldn't got out of the second, I think it was. 3 1/3, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Then his first start of the year, 4 innings, 2 runs, 7 walks, 6 strikeouts. And then versus the Dodgers in LA, we know what that is. 5 innings, 7 runs, 4 of them were earned. But he got up to 4 home runs in that game.
4 homers. Yeah.
4 homers. And then tonight in Colorado. So he's been all over the place. He has it in him. But I was listening to Kyle Glazer on today on 760 with Derek while he was filling in for Darren. And he specifically was like, it's hard to go from, the most starts in your entire career is 9. And while albeit they were good starts with the Yankees, but then expecting to have 30 starts in the following season, how many good outings are you going to have?
Not just that. Even if you went from 9 to 30, what are the odds that you would average 6 innings per start? Which is what those are Michael King's own words. He is hoping to throw 180 innings. Well, you might make 30 starts, but if they're cautious with you, and some of those outings are 3 2/3, like tonight, 4 2/3, then how are you going to throw 180 innings? I don't even know if they want him throwing 180 innings, honestly.
I don't think so either.
My guess would be they probably want him between like 150 and 165 because they have him under control next year. And I'm not saying be cautious, but you got to at least think about it. If the organization, like you said, to go from 9 starts to triple that up it's not reckless, but you're asking a lot. And again, the Padres have done a nice job. I mean, Preller has signed some guys that have been relievers and turned them into starters later in their career, but that's not necessarily who Michael King is.
And Seth Lugo's a guy that we say, like, if King can have a Seth Lugo season, you take it right now. But even Seth Lugo only, I think, threw 130 innings last year, and he went on the IL, I think, maybe once or twice.
That's the thing. I mean, we said they needed to keep their rotation healthy. You already have Yu Darvish on the IL, and we're basically questioning the ability. And I don't know if it might be unfair but like you said, I mean, he's been up and down with his starts. I mean, I think it's fair to say, is this guy really going to throw anywhere near 180 innings? There's a decent chance he doesn't.
I would bet so much money against that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'd take the under, obviously. Everyone should take the under on 180 innings. And if he proves us wrong, awesome.
Yeah. But, talking about just this series now, it puts pressure on this team to go out there and actually put up some runs on the board these next couple games. And you're putting pressure on Waldron and Vasquez to not have Coors Field outings from a pitcher standpoint.
Especially Waldron. I mean, I don't even know if he's throwing knuckleballs tomorrow.
And I know this Rocky team is trash, but like they put up 7 runs tonight, 13 hits. You take
It's going to happen at home. Yeah,
it's going to happen with the Rockies. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So these next 2 games are pretty critical here. I mean, you lose this. I don't think they're going to lose the next 2. I just don't.
Neither do I.
But even losing one of the next 2, you feel like defeated with only having a split.
I would say lost opportunity. I would say lost opportunity, especially tonight, because you won yesterday and you got really good pitching. And then today you jump on them. You score in the first inning and then you score again in the third inning. It's 4-1. I know it's Coors. Every team in the league has lost a 3-run lead at Coors Field. It absolutely happens. But you felt really good. You're taking on this terrible team. You had won yesterday. You had Michael King on the mound. You had a 4-1 lead as late as actually the bottom of the 4th inning. So you felt you felt better than half decent in the moment. And then it turned on a dime. And the dime that it turned on, in my opinion, was Cronenworth's miscue. To your point, King contributed to what later transpired. And you're right. Good teams need to get out of the spots. Good pitchers need to pick up their defense and vice versa. One of those innings, they haven't had a million of them, truthfully. It's almost like they've earned their record, which is like, I kind of think they should be a 13-13 team. And I would explain it like this. There's been some good. They've overcome some deficits. But there's also been some very average performances where you can't homer in back-to-back games at Coors Field against a bad Rockies team, or you can't take advantage of a Blue Jays team at home and win a series, or they should be 13-13. Does anyone disagree with that? You think they should be better? I don't.
No, they're lucky to be 13-13, to be honest with you.
You could say that because the comebacks.
Yeah. I mean, they've had 4 comebacks. Well, actually 5 comeback victories this year.
Are 4 by multiple runs?
4 by multiple runs. Obviously, the biggest one is the 8-0 game against the Cubs. I think they were down by 3 or 4 runs in LA on Friday. I don't know. Anyway, you're lucky when you have 5 of your 13 wins this year be comeback victories. You're lucky to be where you are.
Well, that goes to our point. Like, if they didn't come back from 8-0, if they didn't come back from 4 runs down at Dodger Stadium, and it's a credit to them that they did. So that's why they've earned it, because they've done it. I think they've earned 13-13. You could say there's some luck. Based on Padres' recent history, you wouldn't think they're overcoming 4-run deficits, because that's not typically who they are. But they have done that this year. You know what I was thinking about in this game? Like, well, it's 6-4, but it's Coors. We're going to see this offense. You're going to see them at least rally. It's 7-4. You're going to see them at least rally. And that didn't really happen. Now, again, it's one game. They're not going to overcome a deficit every time they play. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And they've overcome more deficits than most people probably would expect them to do at this point. But I was at least thinking about them. Like, okay, you gave up a grand slam. The game's not over. It's 5-4. It's the 4th inning. But then they didn't score again.
They didn't score again. They could not get a run across the board. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. It was a bad, sloppy loss tonight. Bad, sloppy loss. I guess
it was.
And again, in baseball.
And I'm Mr. I'll deal with the defense and I'll take the offense over the defense, and I will. I mean, I'll die on that hill. But it was sloppy. So, and if there's a place you don't want to be sloppy, it's Denver, because of elevation and everything that can happen in that ballpark, because it's easy to score 10 runs in Colorado. It happens all the time. I do want to thank our title sponsor here on the wrap-up show, Mark Nimitz, who we've been texting with all night long. He wasn't exactly thrilled with the result here tonight. He's just such a passionate Padres fan, lifelong Padres fan, native San Diegan. He's been with us on the channel since the day we launched it, which was all the way back in 2021. So listen, if you have an insurance need, if you wouldn't mind contacting Mark Nimitz, he's going to save you time and money, and he's a great insurance agent. And you can take that from us. I've got homeowners, I've got earthquake, I've got life insurance through Mark, and he can save you $750 or more if you switch your insurance over to him. So you can click the link in the description down below, and it's whatever you need. If it's auto, great. If it's life, great. If it's homeowners, whatever, he offers it all, and he can save you money. So get in contact with Mark if you support this channel. We can't do it without Mark. We can't do it without your support, whether you're here watching live or on replay. So click that link in the description down below. Get free quotes from Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.
Yeah, all his information is below. You see his email address on the screen right now, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to our buddy Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
Interesting point here, too. Like, lucky when you consider, playing, Wadey and Eggy and Paulie. And we said
it's only going to work for a certain amount of time before you really start seeing the depth issues with this team.
It's like a pinhole in like a ship. It doesn't sink right away. Have you seen Titanic?
I've seen it, yeah.
I don't want to spoil. If you haven't seen Titanic, turn the volume down. But the ship sinks, but it didn't sink in one moment. It didn't just go boom. It takes time.
Yeah.
So,
eventually,
if you got a hole in a raft, you got to plug it. You got to plug it. And people have asking for that.
And I have a move for you right now. I got a move for everybody right now that they can do literally tonight.
Let me guess what you're going to say.
I know you're going to guess it.
Yeah, because it's something you saw on social media. So I'm trying to think what you saw.
Well, I saw it because it was a transition transaction that just happened recently, and I was like, "Oh, why don't they do it?" And I looked at the numbers.
Oh,
and
it
I
was
said,
from
"Not
Mark
bad."
Nimitz. It's Garrett Cooper DFA'd.
Why are they not going out and getting Garrett Cooper right now? Why?
When was he DFA'd?
Probably because they didn't have any playing time for him.
No. When was he DFA'd?
Today.
Okay. The reason they maybe haven't is they haven't put a claim in yet because it plays out over a period of days.
Now let me go see. I mean, look, he's hitting 270 with a home run, 6 RBIs, and 3 runs scored this season, John.
What's he hitting?
He's hitting 270.
And how many
Now,
ABs or PAs?
37 at bats. He's hitting
Oh, wow.
270 with a 773 OPS, 10 hits,
give him
1 home run, 6 RBIs. Right now.
I'll give him a 6-year deal.
Seriously, why? Well, why are they not? Why?
Well, because they could. I mean, because if he was designated, they have to put a claim in. They can't guarantee that they'll even get him. He's not a free agent.
Would be immediately better than. He'd be immediately better than. He'd be their best player on their bench, and he could be their DH right now, while Manny's
They'll put
out.
a claim in,
and then, I hope so.
They'll put a claim in, and if they
because he should get picked up by somebody, right?
He'll get picked up. That's my point. I mean, if they can get him via the claim, then they will on waivers. Would be my assumption. That's my real assumption that they'll put a waiver claim in on Garrett Cooper, but we'll see. Mauricio, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you, man. We appreciate your supers, guys. Click the $ below the chat box supporting the wrap-up show here on YouTube. He says Zandy's interview, I like that, with Marty after he went yard against Toronto was concerning. I listened to that. He was still depressed. There is something about the way he speaks in a locker room. Correct me if you did. I like his persona and personality. And maybe he does kind of come across a little monotone and a little I know that specific interview, he was kind of like, it's not that I'm hitting leadoff, it's just I'm not hitting anywhere. Like he's been in this weird, it's not because of where I'm batting, I just can't hit the side of a barn. And he's been kind of I don't know. I don't know if depressing is the word I would use, but he's been very truthful and honest with his struggles, which I appreciate. I have no issue with it, but it does come across to some extent mentally, and it's a tough mental game. It's been maybe challenging to deal with the way he's played to start the year.
I mean, I appreciate the honesty, like you said.
Yeah. But can't you hear that a little bit in how he speaks?
Well, he expects his play to be at a certain level, and it's not close, at all.
Yep.
And the burden of making all this money, knowing that they gave you this money to perform at a certain level, and you're not even close to that. I mean, that's got to be a massive toll on this player. Mm-hmm. Now, in the real world, if someone's paid a bunch of money and they don't perform, then the company doesn't really, bat an eye to potentially fire that person or get rid of that person. But you can't do that in baseball. You can't just be like, hey, we're going to fire you. This doesn't work, and they're not going. Yeah, they still got to pay him. They're not going to do that here. Nor should they, nor will they.
Nor should they, yeah.
So he knows he has to be better. So, I mean, the grind that he's going through is probably, and the mental grind in baseball, it taxes on you so much. I mean, when you're playing well, you're on the top of the world, right? I'm sure Jackson Merrill right now is thinking he's
not even thinking. It's just, it's all reactionary. Probably Bogaerts is thinking.
Bogaerts is thinking everything, and he's working double time. He's doing so many different things to try to make sure he gets back on track here. So I understand the depressing tone from him for sure. I just am sitting here I'm not going to feel sorry for you. You got to be better.
I know it's tough. Yeah,
it's tough. I want to see you do well. Every Padres fan wants to see you do well, because you're a big part of this team. But again, I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for the guy. I just expect him to be better. He's a professional. He's going to be paid a bunch of money to be good. And
on a personal level,
it sucks. Yeah, for sure.
It was like giving him a standing ovation. The reason I didn't have a problem with it is I do want to see him succeed. And Padres fans should want to see him succeed, because you're in a whole world of trouble if he doesn't succeed. The organization's in trouble. It's an onus and a burden on their payroll. It's something that's glaring. It's a black hole. It's a bad. It's all the things you want to say. and it only becomes more and more glaring the more time that passes. So that's why I'm all for doing whatever is necessary to get him pointed in the direction he was pointed, even last April or last September, or obviously at times during his career with the Boston Red Sox. But they've also put him in a little bit of a unique spot where he has switched positions. He, is leading. I mean, I don't know. It's just switching positions from Xander to start spring training, I thought was a nice goodwill move from the organization, as if to say, hey, this year is going to be different. It's more about the team than it is about the individual. And I'm all for that. And I think we've seen it play out to some extent. Let's talk about some of these comebacks. And they have been resilient, and they have dealt with adversity to this point relatively well. With all that being said, Jim, I don't know when Xander Bogaerts puts his head on the pillow at night if he's overly thrilled with playing second base. I don't know if he is. Maybe he loves it. Maybe he doesn't. But you couple a position change with struggling at the plate. I don't know. But there's something in there, and I don't know about the health of his wrists. I just don't know. I really don't. But again, he's accountable for it. He's getting paid $280 million.
Listen to this stat. Kevin just put out his article for the game.
Yeah.
And this goes to our point of to your point of saying that you have Cronenworth at the top of your list tonight because that error just can't happen.
Yeah. Okay.
The Padres, 19 unearned runs given up this year are the third most in the major leagues.
I would have said most. That's a huge number.
12 of their 17 errors this year have led to at least one run scoring in that inning.
Doesn't it feel like that?
Every time they make an error, it feels like, oh shit, there's
something
there's
happens.
A run.
Yep.
Well, it's kind of almost true. They've given up 12 earned runs when 12 of their 17 errors have led to
earned runs.
One run scoring.
Yeah.
So there's 19 there. It's a big number. You can't win games when you're sloppy like that, especially when you have such little margin for error. The team's going to win because of pitching and defense and timely hitting. If your defense is not going to be good, that's a big problem. And I don't think that defense is horrific this year. I think it's fine. There's been some glaring moments where you're like, oh, that's not good.
But what you just said doesn't mean it's been fine. I mean, third most unearned runs plus ninth most errors per Darnay. I mean, it's
been okay. I mean, it's fine. Whatever.
Best is below average.
True. Okay.
And at worst, it's pretty bad.
Well, Schulte said
to your point, I don't think it continues. I think Kim will be Kim's fine. I would like to think Manny gets back out there. Kevin's still reporting. He wrote it yesterday or today in his notes that Manny, when he gets back from paternity leave Friday, could be in the field soon thereafter, and even said potentially this month. And Friday is the 26th. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but Kevin's reporting has held true that he believes that Manny could return in the next 7 days to the field. I think it's impactful. I'm just telling you, I think it's now. I don't know if he's going to be able to field his position perfectly when he returns, and I don't know how often he'll be in the field. I don't think it's going to be back-to-back days for a while. But you can't tell me Manny Machado not playing in the field has no bearing on the way this team plays defense, because the guy's a brilliant defender.
Well, Schulte went on to say our defense has mostly been really good. We're in the right position a lot. We're in that situation where it seems like the moment we make a miscue, some damage takes place. That's not the norm, but it has taken place. Like I've said, they are men, not machines, but it happens.
He'll love it. I need a men, not machine shirt. There's so many great lines from this guy. Men, not machine shirt would be amazing. We need a John and Jim men, not machine shirt.
Just excuses after excuses, but whatever.
It's just, what do you mean we've been in the right position? That's because baseball has positions. This isn't a safety blowing a coverage. Yeah, you're in the right position. I mean, it's not like the third baseman's over eating Cracker Jacks.
That's what I really respected about Bob Melvin. He would have said there.
He was more truthful.
We got to make those plays. We have to
clear
make those
as
plays.
day. I mean,
we can't have
the Cronenworth error. I mean, if you haven't seen it, go find it. It's a terrible error.
Right under his glove.
Terrible. And again, errors over 162 are inevitable. No one is going to have a 1,000 fielding percentage. I'm just saying it sucks when it happens and it scores field and it leads to a 5-run inning. And you add it all up and it leads to potentially. I don't know if they win the game if he makes the play. I don't know if King pitches 5 great innings if he makes the play. I just feel like he got a better chance of winning if he makes the play.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it in a moment. We do want to thank our longtime partner here on the Wrap-Up Show, our good friends over at Aura. Will, their co-founder, huge Padres fan, big supporter of the channel, native San Diegan, offices right here in Liberty Station in San Diego, plant-based nutritional company, an amazing company that supports our work, and you should support them too if you want to get healthier. The probiotic is incredible. I've taken it for 2+ years for digestion. It's an amazing product. You should be taking it. They have omega-3 oils. If you're taking a fish oil, take their omega-3 oil. It's plant-based. You get all the health benefits. They have sleep pills, immunity pills, proteins for after workouts, pre-workout supplements, much, much more, by the way. So click the link in the description down below or go to ora.organic. Again, everyone wants to get healthier. If you want to support the channel, plant-based nutritional products based right here in San Diego. Check them out at ora.organic.
Yeah, they have everything you need to live that healthy lifestyle that you guys crave or want to live. And if you're thinking about taking some supplements, but you don't know where to start, Aura is the best place to go. www.ora.organic. Pick up some stuff and you'll thank us later.
All right, this made me laugh. So made for TV, we just, hey, nobody's perfect. Are you perfect? I don't know if he's talking to us. We just said literally nobody's perfect. But then he goes, so I would initially like laugh at, oh, he just got rid of his last comment. And then he said, hey, Manny's got to get, maybe Ahmad took it out. He then said, hey, by the way, Manny's got to get back. Like have Yonder Alonso watch the kid. Manny's got to get back here. Like, hold on. Nobody's perfect, but you want Manny to leave his wife a day after she's given birth, presumably. I'm not 100% certain. And get to Denver. Give me a break.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not asking anyone to be perfect, but we're just commenting on what has transpired here tonight, which is a loss to the Rockies. Why did they lose? Michael King, Jake Cronenworth, no offense after the fourth inning. You know, do you want us to say it was the greatest night in baseball history? I don't think it was.
It's a bad loss. It's a bad loss.
Okay, that's a Schulte excuse. Thank you. Thank you for made for TV.
Oh, that's what I think.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it is. I mean, cool. Schulte does have the mentality after the game where it's never it's never, you know, like, hey, made a mistake, but I like the effort. Like what?
It's a good baseball player making a good baseball play.
Like, no, the ball went under his fucking glove. I mean, what? You know, guy right. Popped up slide into a defender. It's an automatic out. Why would you say that he should be doing that 10 out of 10 times? That's 10 straight outs, Mike. What the fuck? I mean, what are we doing here? You know, like, oh, didn't have his foot on the bag. It happens. Does it? That's a pretty big egregious error to me. You know, like,
yeah,
fuck, man.
And again, I mean, Sky brings up a good point. I mean, listen, King's going to win out in terms of who the blame goes to in this poll. But Sky is saying he's surprised that even 26% blames Chrome because he reached base safely 4 times. But it's not that's not really the point I'm trying to convey. I think the point I'm trying to convey is the way you play winning baseball is right there. And like that was the game. It's kind of like if LeBron James scores 36 points, but if he doesn't make a play down the stretch, that's the difference between winning and losing. Nobody really cares about the 36 points. I get it. Jake's not LeBron. But it's like what happens in the moments that define who wins and loses. You know, what have we said over the years with someone like one of the criticisms of Manny has been, oh, well, he'll hit 30 home runs. How many of those tie the game or give you a lead? I'm just making it up. Or Juan Soto last year. People, well, he walked, but they weren't impactful walks. Or the hits he had weren't meaningful because they didn't provide, you know, wins above replacement value. So you can't kind of have it both ways. It's like, you know what I'm saying? The difference between winning and losing wasn't necessarily Cronenworth reaching base 3 or 4 times. It was whether or not he made that play in the field. And the same thing with King. Again, he's got to be able to get out of that spot. It's all semantics. We're saying the same thing over and over again. But you get my point.
Yeah, the error was big. King couldn't pick up Croney. And he pretty much imploded after that. You know?
It was a bad inning.
So it started with Cronenworth, but then King sure as hell finished that one off. But overall, you know, 13-13. Again, it's if play the why
we're gonna have that conversation.
Yeah, Kobe was built different, literally. I mean, at 13-13, they're where they're at. Should it be better? You could argue that. Could it be worse? Absolutely. they're going to have a stretch this season where they get hot and like sustain it and then maintain whatever happens after the hot streak. That's what's going to happen here. They can't just be a 500 team all season long, expect them to make the postseason because 500 ain't getting it done.
Remind me of the reliever that came in. Was it at San Francisco where like a reliever turned a double play ball, but then there was an error behind him and then like a run scored, and I was like, how could they bring in
Burrito. Johnny Burrito.
Yeah, but what was this? What was the exact circumstance? But this kind of speaks. I'm trying to prove the like king point.
Johnny Burrito came in the game. Runners at first and second with runner at
first and third one out?
First with 2 outs. Ground ball. Kim tags out Soler, but then the ball flies in the center field, and they would have gone to the top of the ninth inning with a lead. But after the ball flew out of Kim's glove, Soler scored, and then another run scored later after that.
But if you remember, we vehemently defended in that moment Burrito.
Right, that was a Kim loss. That was on Kim.
But this is very similar, is my point.
But that didn't like that immediately. If Kim, this wouldn't have ended the inning though, John.
There would have been 2 outs, nobody on. It's a big difference.
Maybe 2 outs. We don't know if the double play would have been turned. There would have been at least I don't know out.
And we don't know if I'm going to eat meat again in the future. But you won't. It was a double play.
It wasn't good. It wasn't great.
I get your point.
It wasn't great.
Patman0074, thank you for the super. Appreciate you guys. Click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to every single super. If you're here on replay, thank you for the super. Thanks. He says, King's sequencing is terrible. Well, is that on him? His changeup is nasty, but it feels like he's scared to throw it rather than throw down the beep. We could say
dick.
Fastballs. Well, sequencing isn't typically on the starting pitcher. It's more on who's calling the game, which should either be the catcher or the dugout. It should be coming from the catcher. That's an interesting conversation to have, but I don't know if it's here or there. This inning completely unraveled. I'm sure sequencing was horrific in that inning. I'm sure it was horrific. 10 batters faced, hard hit balls, 0-2 fastball for a grand slam. I mean, it was awful. So I don't know who that's completely on. King certainly bears a lot of responsibility there. I don't know who's calling it. If he's shaking off, I have no clue. It's a good point. I think it's fair. It's something to consider. But again, I don't think you put all that on King either because he's not calling his own game typically. Now he could be shaking off. That's fair.
I want to look at something real quick here.
You know what he threw tonight? Do you have his fan graphs? Like what he threw?
No.
We're getting kind of deep to do that, but
how many home runs has he given up this year?
A lot. Well, at least 5.
I'll look at this real quick. He's given up 7 home runs in he's given up 7 home runs in 30 innings.
7 home runs in 30 innings?
Is that a lot?
It's a ton.
Okay. He walks too many guys. He gives up too many home runs, and he's too inconsistent so far. That's what I've seen from Michael King. Too many home runs, too many walks, and he's inconsistent. So,
and by the way, I'm not surprised. Switching leagues, being put in a new role, first month with this organization, he had high hopes, like we all do. We started John and Jim. We thought it would be DSC. We're still John and Jim. I mean, everyone thinks you start your job and you think you're going to be president of IBM, and all of a sudden you're not.
Right.
But that's how it works for most people. It takes time to move up the ladder. And even in professional baseball, like Michael King, I mean, this Dylan Cease thing's impressive, but he's in the middle of his career and he finished second in Cy Young a couple years ago. He was fully capable of taking the bull by the horn, so to speak. And maybe King will with time. I think he will, truthfully. With time, but is anyone surprised that the first month in a new organization, new league, guy hasn't been perfect?
No.
You know what I mean? Like that's asking a decent amount. I made 9 starts, like you said.
9 starts last year. That's a career high, by the way. 9.
Right.
So then it's like, hey, we need you to be better than Seth Lugo was last year. We need you to be better than Michael Wacha was last year. Guys that, Seth Lugo was not a proven starter. But a guy, Michael Wacha was a proven starter. And he even got injured, and he had actually a pretty decent year for this team. Like I said, you give me exactly Michael Wacha's numbers this upcoming season for Michael King. I think Michael Wacha had like around 130 innings pitched, 14 wins at a mid-3 ERA. Sign me up right now.
I agree with
Sign me
that.
up right now. I don't want to push it. I don't want to try to go for more innings than he can actually give you. Just give me that, and I feel good.
And I agree with Johnny. And we said it off the top. I don't know if you were here, Johnny, when we started. And we agree with that sentiment. I'm not going to put
It's a course game.
It can happen, and it's happened to great pitchers. It's happened to every team. It does happen a lot. You watch this whole year, I guarantee there's some stupid, weird games there.
Yeah, it's hard to judge a pitcher, any pitcher, when they pitch at Coors Field. And that's why last night Cease's outing was so impressive, because you're like, one hit at Coors, dominant. So you get these outings at Coors Field. It's just a different animal. And this place could in a second just ruin a pitcher start at any moment.
And made for TV, I mean, to your point, I think that's how we're talking about it. It's somewhere in between. No one tonight is saying King is incapable. Like what I just said, it's like you start your new job, you think you're going to be at the top of the company, and then you get put on your, you get setbacks. So nobody's saying King's washed, but he might not be the guy that took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and he might not be the guy that faced 10 batters and allowed 5 runs in the 4th inning or whatever inning it was tonight. Maybe somewhere in between. We'll see.
Let's be real here.
I don't know.
Let's be real here. Yankees won the trade. I'm kidding. Jeez, everyone calm down.
Who knows how it's going to play out? Who knows where Juan Soto will be in 2025? I mean, I'll say this. I mean, the Yankees' only motivation is to win the World Series this year. The Padres would love that too, but it's not the sole focus of the organization today, would be my guess. I don't think the organization today is thinking, how can we win a World Series in 2024? I think they're thinking, how can we put ourselves in a position to make the postseason in 2024, and then we'll just take our chances. So it's just, I mean, I think they have different priorities right now, if I was guessing.
Yeah. The number one goal is just, by any means necessary, get into the dance. Get into the dance, get into the postseason. If it's 81 wins or if it has to be 87 wins, doesn't matter. Whatever that number is, get in. I don't care what seed. Doesn't matter to me. You got to make the postseason this year, because if you don't, there will be changes. And probably will be.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I heard Eric Katsenda back in, I don't even know, maybe it was February or early March, when he spoke with the media that one day, and it's like the only time we've heard from him in, his tenure, which is 6-7 months at this point. I don't think he was mincing words when he said we're all accountable, including AJ. He said that. His only public comments are we're all accountable, including AJ. Pretty strong for your only ever public comments. It would have been a lot easier. Dude, if I'm only talking one time, I can sugarcoat anything. I could have said anything I wanted. I could have protected him so easily in that 10-minute bite, the one time you're ever going to speak to the media, but he chose not to do that, which to me is pretty telling. And I think the organization has had a change. If Peter Seidler was healthy and alive and running this organization, I think AJ Preller's future is different than Seidler no longer running the organization. I can't guarantee that. We'll see what happens. We'll never know what would have happened if Peter Seidler was running this club and owning this club right now. But I do feel like it's taken a different route now, and it feels like things could change, under Eric Katsenda, that maybe wouldn't have happened under Peter Seidler. We'll see if that's true or not. I don't know if we'll ever really know that.
And I like this team this year so far. I think they've done some really nice things. I think there's definitely things they need to improve on, but for, what the roster was on opening day and what it is right now, again, you take 13-13 after 26 games, knowing, I mean, hey, by the way, if
Fine.
I said, hey, John, in Colorado on the 23rd of April, Jerks from Profar will be your cleanup hitter for all 4 games. If I just told you that sentence at the beginning of the season in
like
Korea,
6 games under 500,
I'd be like, what happened? and then at the end of that sentence, I go, and by the way, they're 13-13. Would you take it? I'd be like, yeah. And so everything is in sky falling right now. It's fine. The lost night was not good, wasn't pretty. You have opportunity tomorrow, and against one of the worst teams in baseball. But I like some trends with this team. There's some good things with this team. You have Dylan Cease, who is an absolute ace. Jackson Merrill is outperforming. Jerkson Profar is outperforming. Jake Cronenworth offensively is outperforming. Tatis looks like he's back to that MVP level, right? When Manny returns, hopefully he gets hot here. So there's nice things with the team. The bullpen has looked really good, the back end of the bullpen. It's just the record that you're just sitting there like, what?
Yeah, I would say average record and at times above average play. Not terribly consistent, but they've proven some people wrong in the way they've played when trailing, as we've talked about, and they've pulled some rabbits out of their hats to get to 13-13. We'll get back to the moment. I do want to talk about Matt Waldron tomorrow briefly, but listen, underdogfantasy.com, we're playing basically every single day, myself and Jim, and you should be as well. And if you use promo code PODSWRAP, just here's the deal. If you're watching and you're not on your phone, because I still don't understand how to do this if I was on my phone, scan the QR code on the screen if you have a phone, and you're going to get right to where you need to be, and then use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP, and you're getting that 100% deposit match up to $100, or click the link in the description down below, or just go to Underdog Fantasy. But listen, you can play across all sports. You got NBA playoffs going on right now. So Jason Tatum tomorrow, Jim, what's he going to do? Is he going to score 25.5 points?
He probably is going to score 25.5 points, yes.
Exactly? 25.5?
Hold on a second here.
Probably higher.
Probably higher than that, John.
Okay, so Tatum, 25.5. Let's see if the Colorado game's up. Yes. I mean, Charlie Blackmon, we know, kills the Padres. We could always play that game if we wanted to.
Charlie Blackmon has a hit in each inning, each game of the series so far.
I know, but it's 1.5 total bases.
Oh, that's not good.
Higher is only 0.9 times. Wow. I'm just looking at some options here. Everyone relax. Oh, would you like higher than 3.5 strikeouts for Waldron, Mr. Knuckleball? Not using the knuckleball tomorrow?
Sure.
Or do you like higher than 1.5 walks allowed? I kind of like that.
Ooh, I like that one actually.
I'm gonna go with that. And give me something from the Rockies.
Is there an NBA game on? Give me an NBA game.
We got Tatum.
Another one. Okay. No, don't do anything from the Rockies. Go give me a Shohei home run, because he is on fire.
He did that tonight. He hit it 4,000 feet.
Hardest ball ever hit. And Verlander is literally like foaming at the mouth.
Dude, a Shohei home run's only worth 1.5 times.
Give me a Mookie home run.
It's 1.5. 2 times. Oh, 3.5. Okay.
Give me a Mookie.
So a Mookie home run and $20, guys, pays $504. Just going 3 for 3. You don't have to go 4 for 4.
Give me a standard. Give me a standard pay. Give me a standard play.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. That's 504. And flex means if you go 3 for 3, it's like insuring it. You get 252. But even if you get 2 right, your 20 turns into $84. And you're playing with free money if you use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP, if you scan that QR code on the screen right now. Right, Jim?
Do that right now.
I'm playing tomorrow. I don't think I played today. I meant to once the Padres, and you can do in-game, by the way. You might say, oh, man, I wanted to play the Padres game. Open the app. You can play. Right. In-game. And everything changes.
And the great part is once you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code PODSWRAP. I tell it all the time. First $100 deposited is matched on us, and you could win real money by playing with free money. You have $100 free bucks there to spend that you could win real money from. Again, like you have, if you wanted to do $20 bets, you got 5 free bets there that could net you a big time amount of money. So Underdog Fantasy, promo code PodsWrap. Download the app right now. Your first $100 will be matched on us using promo code PodsWrap, and go win some money, guys.
And you'll thank us later. I love this from Chris. He bet, look at this payout. 5 for 1,200 was the play. It was, I love this. Blackie, Trouty, Gunny, Raleigh E would all hit homers tonight for 1,200. $5 would have paid 1,200. That's what's cool about Underdog Fantasy. You can 100 times your money in a single night. We've been saying that. So, and that's accurate. So with the right combination of plays, you can 100 times. $5 becomes whatever, right? You can win a ton of money. Like Chris said, $1,200. That's crazy.
Yeah, I just scanned it right now on the thing, and boom.
Does it work?
Yep.
Good point. I haven't even checked that, and you put it up. I'm gonna
So
scan
here we
it.
go. I just scanned it, and it takes me. Well, I have the app downloaded. It takes me right to my Underdog Fantasy app, and boom, I'm in. So if you do not have it downloaded,
Same.
it will take you right to the App Store to download the app. You download the app, boom, you are in.
Boom, check.
Boom, check.
All right, here's just my last point. I mean, are you worried about Waldron tomorrow with how knuckleballs don't knuckle at elevation? Are we worried about that? Seems a little concerning.
Dude, every time Waldron pitches, you're worried about it. It's just what it is. Anytime it's not Musgrove, Cease, or Darvish when he's back, you don't have a really good feeling. I mean, you don't have a good feeling on what you might see. Like, I feel like when Cease is out there, you have a feel like he's going to give you a really good outing. Same thing with Musgrove, even though he's kind of struggled, but he's been better of late. And then when Hughes is healthy, you just expect him that because he is a top rotation guy, that he's got to be good. I have no idea what to expect from Waldron tomorrow. Nothing.
Neither do I. I have no idea. I'd like to just see them bounce back.
Just go out, score 9 runs, and win the game.
Real quick, since we're here, I just put in the chat, and we never promote this, but again, Michael picked up some merch earlier today, so I'm going to promote our merch because we haven't done it forever. We do have John and Jim and Wrap-Up Show merch available for you right now. So if you support the channel and you want to pick something up for the season, which is just underway, we got everything you could want. You got the 98 look with John and Jim available to you right now. You've got the modern day brown look, whatever we call it, available.
Modern
in
day
addition to that,
brown and gold.
Brown and gold, thank you. We have Wrap-Up Show merch, of course, available as well. So John and Jim merch, Wrap-Up Show caps. You know, I always wear a Wrap-Up Show cap. You guys know. I think Michael picked up the new logo T-shirt today.
Yeah.
Or had it in the mail. So we got what you need. If you support the channel, if you want to wear something to Petco or around San Diego, or just as you watch the shows, whether it's John and Jim or the Wrap-Up Show, we got it for you. I just put a link in the chat, or you can click the link in the description down below. So if you support the channel, make sure to check out our merchandise.
Yeah, and if you want some free stickers from some free John and Jim stickers, come on by the Naughty Barrel on Friday afternoon. Me and John will be outside the Naughty Barrel from 3 to 6. They got barbecue starting at 4 p.m., which is awesome. So good. John doesn't partake, but he will have some macaroni salad and some potato salad. But come on by. Right. We got some free stickers, and don't be afraid to ask us if you want a sticker, and we'll give them to you. So come on by. Naughty Barrel, 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon before the Padres Philly series.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, join us tomorrow. We'll have the Wrap-Up Show for you tomorrow night. We'll have John and Jim beginning at 3 p.m. San Diego Sports 760, free iHeartRadio app right here on YouTube. Just find John and Jim. Search for John and Jim 760. You can see our daily or weekday radio show right here on YouTube from 3 to 6 p.m. Please subscribe, guys. If you're here, and we have year-round content for you. If you're a Padres fan, hit that like button for us. We'd love to get to 150 likes tonight or on replay. Appreciate you finding us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate the super thanks. If you support our partners, we would appreciate that as well. Mark Nimitz of Farmers Insurance, our title sponsor. You have an insurance need, he can help you and he can save you money. Aura, if you're looking to get healthier. Oh, I didn't get to that. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Let's relax for a second. Thank you, HBVV, all the letters. That's on me. All right, let's get to this for a second. Jake Kim need to improve. Gave Colorado 1/6 of their total wins. Well, that's fair. They have just 6 wins, so yeah, one of them came tonight. Jake,
What do you mean, on defense or offense?
That's the thing. I mean, Jake, again, offensively, it's not a question of that tonight. Need to improve. I don't know. Jake's been good, obviously, for the year. This isn't an issue with Jake's season. Kim needs to play better than he's played. I think that's fair.
Here's the thing with Ha-Seong Kim, and to your point, John, why it makes a lot of sense to move him in the leadoff spot. His last 15 games, he's got a 371 on base percentage.
Yeah, that's more than enough.
More than enough. Jake Cronenworth, the average 264, okay, but 15 RBIs with the 781 OPS.
It's good.
It's good for him. It's good.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to see it be better, but and he's obviously cooled off as of late. But overall, I think those guys have given you what you expected offensively. They're not atrocious. They're not horrific. They're doing just enough. And Kim's had a really bad start to his season. First couple of weeks, he couldn't hit anything. He was just getting very, I don't want to say unlucky, but he just wasn't doing anything at the plate.
Talking about Kim or Kimmy?
Kimmy, sorry, Kimmy.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think they've been fine. I think they've been good. But the Bogaerts thing is the problem, where it's like, okay, Bogaerts, his on base percentage is 277.
That's terrible. I mean, considering he's hitting only 190, whatever, it could be worse. It could be like 220, but it's terrible. So you have to get basically leadoff hitter's got to get on base 35% of the time, and he's not getting on base 30% of the time.
277. So yeah, moving Kim to the leadoff spot, it kind of makes sense if you're gonna give me a 350 on base.
I think it's again. I mean, we all want to see Xander hit, but if he doesn't hit, then it's coming. To your point, and maybe it's Friday when the Phillies come here and you get Manny back in the lineup, or maybe it's later than that. Maybe they give it more time, or maybe Xander hits. Maybe in the final 2 games of the series, he hits 2 home runs. I have no idea.
And it's crazy
because at some point you're gonna have to produce.
Because I mean, you look at Xander's numbers, and to be fair, while last year I considered to be not a good season for him, his end of his season numbers were his career average. 285, 350 on base, 440 slug. His career average, 289, 354, 453 slug.
Kind of crazy.
So he got to his career numbers last year by having a nuclear September. So you would think that he's going to get to those numbers this year, hopefully, and you hope they don't come, in a part of the season where it's like, why couldn't you have done this when we really needed you? Type of situation. But I mean, you look at every year since 2019, John. Shoot, every year since 2018. I mean, this guy has been a 288, 309, 300, 295, 307, 285 hitter. I mean, consistency.
Yeah, he should hit for average.
In 2018, 882 OPS. 2019, 939, 866, 863,
939. Lord.
Last year was the only year that he had a sub 800 OPS since 2017. But
yeah, he's at 550 now.
Yeah,
that's like that's a shell. Now again, 26 games. Nobody's saying he's gonna have 550 OPS this year,
right?
But at some point you got to pick this thing up. There's a lot of time. Got to pick this thing up, and I would say sooner rather than later from Xander. Otherwise, there's shaking up coming in this lineup. And even if Mike Schilt is Mr. Consistency, a shakeup's coming.
He's got to hit his career averages. He has to. He's got to hit 285. He's got to have a 350 plus on base, and he has to have a 450 plus slugging.
Which
if he doesn't have that,
he's gonna have to have a nice 5 months, which again is all doable. But he's gonna have to do that. You know what I mean? To get to 285, now he's got to hit 299 the rest of the way, or whatever 301.
That's what he's paid for, man. He's got to get those numbers.
I agree. All right, guys, we appreciate you again. I mentioned Underdog. I mentioned Aura. I mentioned Mark Nimitz. Underdog, scan that link and use promo code PADSWRAP, PADSWRAP, and start playing along with them. Daily pick'ems. Get that 100% deposit match up to $100. We will see you tomorrow night. For Jim, I'm John. This has been the Wrap Up Show. Thanks, guys.
Peace out. Bye.